them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Mark
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how was your weekend, my friend?
Good. Better than Toronto's. How come everybody's so negative about the Leafs?
I don't know, Pierre. I think it's because everyone loves to hate on the Leafs, unless you're in Toronto.
No, but even those fans are like against the Leafs now.
Yeah, it's the end of the world. I know. I think, honestly, if you look at that series right now, I don't know how you could say it's over. I'm hearing a lot of this. Oh, that's it. They've lost it. They let Florida off the mat. Florida's playing their game now. Okay, but maybe the Leafs haven't played their game yet. Maybe the Leafs
they have not played one A-level game yet. They've had spurts where they've been A+. Like to start the game on Friday night, they were off the charts, man. They were up 2-0. They were dominating.
Yep.
Then they got punched in the mouth a little bit, and they didn't respond really well to it. But you know what? They went to overtime, and the punch in the mouth was that Joseph Woll didn't have a very good game.
No. And then of course he comes back and has a great game.
And yeah, they waste one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I looked at this series, Pierre, too. What was the series in the first round that you thought was going to go the home team the whole round?
LA Edmonton.
Right. Okay. So that's how I feel about this series. I really do. I feel like it's going to be a home series. We're going to get to game 7. Well, of course, anything can happen in game 7, but I still feel like this is going 7. I'm not in the same boat as a lot of people today who are looking at it and saying the Leafs are done. I think they're far from done. And Pierre, one thing I want to get to too, can people lay off Austin Matthews?
Oh boy.
Enough.
Oh boy. Oh boy. You know, like, be fair. Like, you want to criticize, okay, say he's not doing much offensively. That's fair. Because that's all about numbers. Why don't you start quantifying all the stuff he's doing back checking? Why don't you quantify all the stuff he's doing in his own zone? Why don't you look at his face-off numbers from yesterday? He's over 60% again.
Yep.
You know, like, go look at all the stuff that he has done properly and professionally.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't think it's fair. Now, nobody cares about fair right now. The only fair thing is you need to win. And then when you win, everybody loves you. But he's been much better than what the pundits are saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Much better.
I like that you're talking about, the fact he's playing a much better two-way game. And the thing is, I was just listening to some other talk shows, and they're saying, well, he's paid to score. No, he's paid to be the best boss he is, but he's also paid to be the best player he can be. And maybe right now, that's what that is. Like he's clearly hurt. We've been saying it forever, and nobody wanted to listen. And now you see all these insiders saying, oh, Austin Matthews is definitely playing injured. Yeah, no.
He shouldn't have got, first of all, no way should that guy have been playing in the Four Nations. Not a chance.
No.
We said it right on this show. I defy anybody, any insider, say, oh, yeah, we said that. No, you did not. No, you did not. None of you said it.
Yeah. And I think, would you rather him just solely focus on scoring and forget the defensive? No. I'd rather him, whatever's bothering him right now, whatever that injury may be, he's adjusting the best he can right now. Unfortunately, that's not equally more scoring, but it's still, like you said, doing a whole lot of good in other areas of the game. And I think people should be grateful. And then I heard somebody go off on Mitch Marner, and I'm like, wait a minute. Mitch Marner had 3 blocks last night. 3 block shots. He's doing a lot of good things defensively.
Mitch Marner's lucky he could walk off the ice after the Kulikov elbow to his face.
Yes. Good transition. That's where I want to go with this game. So there's a lot of talk, and he did get fined, but he didn't get suspended. A lot of talk about Max Domi on Barkov at the end of the game. 2 things I want to say about that. One, exactly what you just said. Why is nobody talking about that? That to me was suspendable, Pierre. I don't know about you, but that was a clear headshot to me. And then second of all, the thing with Domi and Barkov. Now, I don't know if you agree with me. If that happens in the second period or the first period or even early in the third period, instead of at the end of the game, when clearly, yes, he's trying to send a message for the next game, is anybody talking about it? Because that's something to me that happens a lot throughout the course of a game, but it's when it happened that made it so glaring. And that's why everybody has a beef with it. Do you agree with that?
I got one more beef. Paul Maurice, this isn't his first go-round.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell me why you got him on the ice at the end of the game?
Right?
Want to explain that to me? Why is Barkov on the ice? I can tell you right now, Scotty Bowman would not have had him on the ice.
No.
Right, so maybe I come at it from a different perspective because I worked right next to the winningest coach of all time, and everything was calculated. I'll never forget it. And he never once told me who to put on the ice. But I'll never forget a little tug in the back of my jacket. And he says, last 2.5 minutes, we got a 3-goal lead, 4-goal lead. You may not want Alfie out there. Yep. You're right, boss.
Yes.
You're right, boss.
And Pierre, of all teams, to have a star out there, the Florida Panthers are notorious for sending messages at an end of the game. So they should know that it's coming their way.
We never rehearsed this show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you in advance. So I'm going to play off of my partner right now. So just don't form an opinion. Just think about what I'm about to present, because I do these exercises by myself or with Jimmy sometimes.
Yep.
So I want you to think about Tkachuk on Gensel in the last round. That was game 3. I want you to think of Nico Mikkola on Zemgus Girgensons game 4. Mikkola got a $5,000 fine. I want you to think about Sam Bennett on Anthony Stolarz in game 1. I want you to think about Sam Bennett versus Brad Marchand last year in a series that my partner covered.
Yep.
I want you to think about Alexander Alexiev in the Washington-Montreal series, cross-checking Brendan Gallagher, a puck carrier, right in the face, and no call. If that's a regular season, that's a suspension. I want you to think about Tom Wilson's hit on Alexander Carrier in the Montreal series. I want you to think about Alexander Ovechkin's hit on Jake Evans in the Montreal series. And I just picked those because they're easy to pick up the tape on. There are countless other ones that I could present as evidence. So if you think that what Domi did is worse than anything that's happened in these playoffs, you haven't been watching the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I will say this. If I were the manager of the team, I would say and not in a negative way at all, because Jimmy, I really respect Paul. I think Paul's a really good coach. Sometimes you get caught up in a moment. And what I recognized Paul was doing really well, he had Tomáš Nosek, who he put in for games 3 and 4 instead of Nico Sturm. And Nosek played really well. He did a heck of a job, and Paul used him well.
Yep.
But I also noticed Tkachuk was sitting on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Barkov was not.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do that?
I know. I totally agree with you, Pierre.
You're up
totally
and you're comfortable. You're up and you're comfortable. They're not.
Yep.
Toronto's not coming back to win that game.
No.
They're not coming back to win that game.
Rest your good guys.
They had 12 shots on net through the first 40 minutes of the game. And honestly, Jimmy, I'm going to say of those 12, I'm going to say 9 of them were shots on net.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean, Jimmy? Like, you can say 12 and all this stuff. Exactly. I'm going to say 9, okay?
Exactly. The net got in the way on some of them.
They had 20, Jimmy, they had 23. And only, again, Jimmy knows how I do this. They only had 23 shots for the game.
Yep.
23.
I know.
So just think about that for 1 second. They are never winning one game in this series if they only get 23 shots on net.
Exactly. And not to take anything away from Bobrovsky, who I think is an amazing goalie, borderline, maybe goes to the Hall of Fame. Who knows? I think he's a great goalie. This is not a knock on him. It's not his fault that they didn't have a lot of quality chances. But let's pump the brakes on saying, Bobrovsky's back and Leafs are done and he's in his zone and all. I mean, come on.
There were 3 moments where I thought he was really stellar. He stared down Nylander on a breakaway, which was really good. And to his credit, Gustav Forsling made a heck of a defensive play to kind of shut it down for Nylander so he couldn't get creative. That was one. Second one was a breakaway that I think Matthew Nice missed the net, even though they're saying it might have grazed his blocker or shoulder. I didn't see tape that said it hit him, but I'm going to use the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, he may have got a piece of it. Let's just say that. And then he makes the big glove save on Austin Matthews late in the game. You know, Austin's a left shot on the right-hand side of the ice, and he put it in his glove. He's trying to go high, short side. I get it. But I don't think that's a tough save for him. I think it would have been harder if Austin would have gone far side, blocker side. But for
Yeah.
Bobrovsky, I didn't think that was that tough a save. So I'm going to say there's maybe 23 shots. I'm going to say there's maybe 7
Exactly.
that were really like he had to bear down. And 3 of those 7 were really critical.
Right.
Whereas the other guy, Joseph Wall, he had to come up large every single sequence.
I felt so bad for him. You know, I mean, he played a great game, and he stole a lot of goals that I thought would have went on the scoreboard there. He was great. He was great. But Pierre, the other thing too, you look at, and I brought this up to you earlier in the day when we spoke, and I said, Pierre, explain to me how the Toronto Maple Leafs win the face-off battle 63.5% to 36.5%, and they lose. And what did you tell me?
I forget.
you said, well, they didn't do a good job getting it out of the zone or taking advantage.
Yeah. So now I know what I did say. They didn't do a very good job getting the puck out of the
retrieving.
zone. Yeah,
They didn't retrieve.
They didn't go get pucks. And the only reason I forgot, Jimmy, I've been doing shows all day long.
That's okay. That's okay. By the way, I saw your Bet Rivers show you sent to me right before we came on there, and it has to do with what we're saying there.
Yeah.
You know, that aggression and physicality has become the main theme here. And as you've been saying since this series started, that is not the Maple Leafs game. And if they're going to let that be the tone of the game and that's how the series is going to go, they're not going to win. They got to play their game. That's it.
Their game. So Tanev can play that way, and McCabe can play that way, and I think Benoit can play that way. Brandon can a little bit, but he's more of a stick and pin rather than a thump kind of a guy. I'm not discouraged, but I was expecting more from Scott Lawton. I think he's showing flashes of what I thought he could be. He's still not there yet. He's been underwhelming, but it doesn't mean he can't get it back. It does not mean he can't. I just think there's something. I don't know if it's the role. I don't know if it's the rhythm. There's something not right there. I don't know if you agree with me.
I totally agree. I don't think
I thought he would be bringing more to the party. I did. Because I'm a big fan, and I'm not even going to lie. When I was in Ottawa, like he was a player we were really looking at. You know, our coaches thought the world of him. You know, especially DJ, who coached against him in the Ontario Hockey League. You know, he knew or had him actually. He knew him. So I mean, I've always thought he was a really good player. Now maybe he's just uncomfortable right now, but we'll see. There's not a lot of time left for him to get comfortable. He's going to have to get going here. But you know what? All these people, the doom and gloomers, that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. It's 2-2 going back to Toronto. It's a home ice series, as my partner says. I think it's a home ice series. I really do.
I would get it if it was 3-1. Then I'd understand this, but it's 2-2. Everybody's gonna relax a bit.
And you have to admit this. Game 3, I think if Joseph Woll played like he played in Game 4, they are up. They are up 3-1 in the series, but it's not Florida up 3-1. It's Toronto up 3-1.
Agreed. All right. The other game, Pierre, earlier in the day on Sunday, the Jets and Stars. You know, that game starts. Hellebuyck's coming off a shutout. He's looking pretty good early on, and then all of a sudden, boom!
I didn't think he looked very good. He looked uncomfortable. I call it happy feet.
Okay.
He's like a quarterback in the pocket, and he jumps around all over the place when he's starting games. I don't know why that is, because when he's at home, he's not doing that. And the crowd's amped up in Winnipeg. They got great crowds, but for whatever reason in St. Louis and Colorado last year and Dallas this year, I'm like, darn, he doesn't look comfortable, man. He just doesn't look comfortable.
Yeah. Now, what's your take on Arneal's call there about that goal shouldn't have counted?
I said right away it should count.
Okay.
First of all, he never a distinct kicking motion is when a player lifts his skate off the ice and tries to propel the puck at the net. Yeah. Number one. So I don't think the player did that. Petrovic. I don't think he did that. So that's number one. Number two, he's allowed to use his skate to get the puck to the front of the net. He's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. It's amazing how all these guys, they trumpet all these players that make these great soccer plays with their skates along the board. Oh, that's such a good play. Or in their own zone, that's such a good play. They're so good. But when they do it around, the goalie union has to stop.
Yeah.
Okay? Yep. They're all protecting themselves. The goalie union needs to stop.
Yeah.
That's number two. And number 3, Hellebuyck put that in himself.
Thank you. And that's where I felt things really went south. I thought after that, Pierre, mentally, he never recovered. And I think he knew it too. Like,
Well,
I think
neither did the team. Neither did the team.
Which is
excuse me
right now, because I that's one of the things I've noticed about the Jets is when it goes south, it goes south. When it goes north, it goes like there's no in between right now with them. They're just it's very black and white.
I want to build off your point. Think about the Josh Morrissey play, the shimmy shake at the offensive blue line against Colin Blackwell, and the pass that he makes that eventually ends up in the back of the net. It's a spectacular play by Morrissey, right? You would agree?
Yep.
It's a spectacular play. You would have thought momentum was on their side.
Right.
You would have thought they got this game.
Yeah.
Because the crowd was stunned.
Yep.
Not true. Rope Hintz, Mikael Granlund, and who's that new guy from Carolina and Oh yeah, Rantanen, Mikko Rantanen.
Should we just end Conn Smythe now?
Oh, this is pretty special what he's doing.
It's amazing.
It's really amazing. Special. And, again, you go back, these kids from the time they're 14, 15, 16, and you see how he's playing. You're like, you knew he always had it in him. And a lot of people took pot shots at him and say, oh, he's a product of playing with Nathan McKinnon. And he's so lucky he's been with Nathan McKinnon and Gabriel Landeskog all these years. And then you see him go away.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yep. And I think, too, we talk about mental toughness, Pierre. Clearly, we all know the story. It just didn't, there wasn't a match in Carolina, right? But that was he openly admitted mentally that was one of the toughest stretches of his career because he's stunned he was traded. Then he gets to this new team. It's not working out. They can't connect somehow. And then he gets traded again. And he was good, but he wasn't anything special heading in to the playoffs. And then all of a sudden he finds his game and he's been on a whole nother level. And I credit him a lot. And I'm going to take blame here too. I was like, maybe Colorado made the right move. I remember saying it right here. I'm like, maybe they knew something we didn't about trading him. And he has just made me eat my words and he has taken it to another level. And I give him a lot of credit for the mental toughness he's shown. Yeah,
most Finns are mentally tough. They really are. I'm not trying to generalize either. They are really tough people. I have Jimmy, how much I love it there. I have so much respect for their population, especially their athletic population. And hockey, obviously, is one of their bigger athletic endeavors. I've had some amazing, amazing days and nights in that country just watching their teams practice and play. Yeah. It's phenomenal to watch because their work habits are so good, Jimmy. They're tough people and their work habits are so good.
I remember you telling me how, from whatever age level, whether it's kids, 11, 12, 13-year-olds, all the way up through pros, they all preach the same thing. The coaches are all on the same page. It's really instilled in them how to play.
Especially for the goalies. They have an a countrywide goalie program. So everybody says, how would they develop all these great goalies?
Easy.
It's easy. They have one major domo who overlooks the whole country, and they have 7 satellite directors. And then they have about 15 guys that work under them, and they just develop goalies because they figured as a country, and it's a really smart. We're not going to have enough goal scoring to measure up to Sweden or to measure up to Canada or the Russians or the United States. So how are we going to stay in games? Well, we're going to develop good defensemen, physical approach to the game, but elite goalies.
Mm-hmm.
And so they figured the formula out for them. What has to work? Finland's not a country of 20 million people. Finland's a country of about, the size of the province of Quebec. It might have 7 or 8 million people.
Yeah.
I don't know if Quebec could send a team to the Olympics.
It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. I'm just telling you, it's amazing.
As you're saying that, I know it's been one of the topics here with our listeners and viewers in our Q&As. Why has Canada stopped developing goalies? Maybe they got to take a memo from Finland, take a flyer there and start to form a committee that focuses on goalies.
I think part of it is I do think the cost is part of it.
Cost is it, yeah.
And in Finland, a lot of it's subsidized, where in Canada it's not really.
No, nor in the States. Yeah.
No, but the States has 300 50 million people,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
So here's the one thing for our Canadian listeners. If you take the population of Connecticut, New York, just around New York City, and New Jersey, the tri-state area it's called, they have a larger population than the country of Canada. Just those three states.
Wow. So basically the tri-state. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Before we move on, what, in terms of Finnish goalies, just off the top of your head, who's the best Finnish goalie to you?
Ever?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I knew you'd ask me that. Kari Lehtinen was really good. He never got enough credit. He was really good. Tuukka was really good. Oh, man. That's too hard. Like, don't ask me that question. Too hard. Who do you think?
I don't know. Best ever, my favorite. Well, I was lucky.
Tuukka for you has to be.
But you know who I loved? Mika Kiprusoff.
Kiprusoff was special. You know, one of his best years ever. I know he had great years in obviously San Jose and Calgary.
Yep.
But, you know, his best year might have been he played in Timrå during a lockout. And he was really good.
Oh, wow. Was that during 05?
It was before that, I think. It was before that. Go see what year he was in Timrå. Because Kent Manderville was one of his teammates.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mandy was there with him.
Okay, let's see. No, it was 04, 05.
Okay, there you go. So Mandy was there with him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he had a 915 save percentage. Doesn't show his record, what I'm looking at right now. 915 save percentage, 2.14 goals against.
So there you go. I did pretty good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I always liked that. That was that was a great playoff run by that Calgary team right before the lockout. You covered that, right, Pierre?
Yes. So I'll give you one more Finnish goalie that I think is just phenomenal, and one of the nicest men I've ever had the honor to meet, Pekka Rinne.
Oh, good call.
Pekka Rinne.
Good call.
Pretty amazing. You know how he got discovered? It's an amazing hockey story. So Jani Kikalainen, Jarmo's brother, he was a regional scout for Nashville, and he called the late Ray Shuro up, and he said to Ray, look, there's a guy that plays over here in Finland, and he's a really good goalie, but he never plays because Nicholas Backstrom, who ended up playing for Minnesota, he's the starting goalie, and he's going to the NHL. So the backup's never going to play. But I'm telling you, Ray, we have to draft this guy. And Ray goes, Yanni, I don't know. If the guy's not playing, I don't know if we can draft him. So you'd have to look up what round they drafted Mika, Jimmy. But so Ray flew over there. Ray flew over there and met Yanni at the airport in Helsinki. And they went
fifth
to go
round, fifth round, by the way.
Fifth round, okay.
Overall.
So he was a fifth rounder, okay?
Yeah.
The only reason they drafted him is because Ray watched him practice in the warm-up, and Jani Kikalainen must have gone up to the kid and said, look, you're not playing in the games, but the boss from Nashville is coming. So make sure you're really good at the warm-up. That's a true story. So the kid, I guess he was Ray, because Ray ended up calling me from over there. He goes, Pierre, and I was doing TV, Pierre, I just saw this guy. He's really good. What's his name? Nick Backstrom? Because that's who I thought he was going to tell me.
Right.
He goes, no, his name is Pekka Rinne. Pekka Rinne, not Rinne, Pekka Rinne. I never heard the guy. Come on. And then obviously you get to meet Pekka over all the years and do his games, and I hope this gets to him. So he is such a gentleman, such an unbelievable human being. Really good. And a great goalie. Great goalie.
He became a face of that organization too.
Yeah, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Hey, not to sidetrack even more here, Pierre, but when you've scouted so much, what is it like when you see a diamond in the rough like that, and in your gut, I've found something here. Nobody else is talking about him. How do you convince your bosses, trust me on this?
Well, I did it with Ian Moran in my first draft. And Ian played 11 years. That's a long time. I think he was a 7th rounder.
Yeah.
Belmont
Hill.
He was. I had him in hockey camps, and his character was beyond reproach. His character was so elite. And he ended up making the World Junior team that was in Saskatoon and Regina. Billy Guerin was on that team too. So I'm going to say that was 1990-91 World Junior.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian was on that team.
Yeah, correct.
It was in Saskatoon and Regina. Yep. So what I remember the most that stood out to me was there was a day, I want to say it was a Sunday in the middle of July, and I was always on the ice. I'd probably skate 7 to 11 hours a day doing these camps because that's how you made money back in the day.
This down at the Europa Cup?
Yeah, Europa Cup at Babson and Wellesley. Yeah. And I just remember offering Ian a chance to stay out and help out because I was by myself and I had all these kids come in. He goes, I would love to. And I had just finished like punishing their group. And he stayed. And I never forgot that. I was like, this kid's got serious moxie. He's got character. And now that's what he's doing. Like he's working with Matt Cater. He runs hockey, clinics, and he's really successful. And I couldn't be more happy for him. He's such a good person. But that was one, Jimmy. I said to Scotty and Craig, I said, look, I don't know how many years he's going to play, but we're in the 7th or 8th round now, 7th round, I think. I said, but I'm telling you, this guy's going to play. Like, I don't know how long he's going to play. Yeah. Most of the guys we're drafting now are never going to play. I'm telling you, this guy's going to play. Yeah. And he was committing. He had just committed to Boston College. Okay. Steve Cedarchuk was the coach. And so
those years, that's right. I remember.
Yeah. So you got him. And Lenny Siglarski was the head coach, but Cedar was the recruiter.
Okay.
Steve Cedarchuk was a recruiter, but Lenny was still coaching. And I just remember being so excited. And then Scotty says, you got Yager. Are you sure you're okay with this guy? I said, oh, yeah, this guy's good, too. He'll play.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember him lighting St. Sebastian's up. I'll tell you that. Whew.
He was a good player.
Yeah, he find like every team he'd go to. I mean, he played a good amount on different teams, but he would find his role right away. Like he was one of those guys I noticed just from when he was with the Bruins. He just fit right into the dressing room. You know what he was?
Yeah.
Fit right in.
He was a bigger version of Matt Grizzlick. That's what he was. He was a bigger version. And Matty was a good player. Matty was a good player.
Yeah.
And he still is. Matty was just not big enough, to last over the – Matty's had an amazing career when you think about how, his size.
Mm-hmm.
But Ian was just a bigger version of him.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Pierre, let's move on to the games tonight, and then we'll go into our sponsors and my Betway picks. Capitals and Hurricanes, Game 4. Well, this has been a good series. I kind of feel like the Capitals bounce back, but I won't be surprised if they don't and the Hurricanes take a 3-1 lead. But, I mean, I don't think this is like any short thing for Carolina right now. I think this has been a good back-and-forth series. What's been your take?
I've been disappointed in Washington's physicality. They're not playing nearly as physical as they did against Montreal. So Brent Burns has had a free pass in this series, and he's played well. Jacob Slavin's had a free pass in this series, and he's played well. The role players for Carolina, guys like Eric Robinson, Jordan Martinook, those guys have made a difference. Mm-hmm. They've made a difference. Jankowski, when he's been put in, like those guys have made a difference.
By the way,
what's that?
He's been a huge pickup ever since they got him.
Yeah, those guys, when they've been in the lineup and they've played, have made a difference. So I'm waiting for Duhaime's got to be physical. Wilson's got to be physical. Dowd's got to be physical. Ovechkin's got to be physical.
I was just going to ask you about him.
And this is a very fair point. Brindamore and Jeff Daniels and Tim Gleason, the coaches in Carolina, they're all defensive-minded guys. They're not more offensive as much as defensive guys. And their penalty kill, Jimmy, just so you understand this, is at 95.5 in the playoffs. Yeah. That's unbelievable, Jimmy. Only one power play goal so far in this series is from John Carlson in Game 2. And this is the one that will kind of blow you away. I did their special team quotient this morning. What do you think their special teams quotient is between power play and penalty kill percentage? 105. 105 is a Mendoza. If you want to win the cup, you got to be 105 or higher combined. What do you think it is?
You're saying what's their
Carolina power play and penalty kill. What do you think their number is?
109?
How about if I told you 128.8?
What?
Never. You haven't read that from any of your friendly insiders, have
No,
you?
I have not. Wow.
128.8.
Wow. Well, one thing I was going to say to you that I've noticed, and I'm sure they've noticed it too, they don't seem to have the Capitals I'm speaking of. There's not much time for them to think or set up out there.
No,
I mean,
because
it's
it's
boom, right on you.
Four line attack, Brindamore hockey, no room in the neutral zone, get pucks to the blue line and just slam them on goal. The rebounds are going to come out. We'll go chase them down. Make sure there's a good third man high. D only pinches when they know they have third man support. They're doing what they've been doing for years. Now, again, we'll see if it works.
Yep.
I think Caps are still very much alive in this series.
By the way, Ryan Leonard back into the lineup tonight.
Yes.
So I'll be interested to see how the kids.
Taylor Radish out, Ryan Leonard in. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll see what
So
happens.
here, what would you say to Ryan Leonard tonight if you were coaching?
Be yourself. Do what got you here. Do what got you to the NHL.
Do what got you here.
Don't
try to be don't try to be Tom Wilson.
Yep.
Don't try to be Alexander Ovechkin.
Nope.
Just be Ryan Leonard.
Yeah. And that's all you can
There's
do.
a reason why we liked you. There's a reason why you never saw Hershey. There's a reason why the first game you played was in Boston. There's a reason why. Now go prove yourself. Go prove to yourself and everybody else that we were right about you.
Well, I like that. That's a good segue there. But before we get to it, Pierre, the late game tonight, this is a weird one, man. Because we haven't, right? Because that was Saturday night. So what to make of that last second goal there by the Vegas? Everyone right now it wants to blame the goalie. But as I called you immediately after, and I said, it's as you said, Pierre, there's a lot of mistakes that lead to goals. And nobody is talking about all the different things that why does everybody just jump on him so quickly? I'm not saying he's great. He's been great by any means, Skinner. But let's call a spade here. That loss was not all on him.
No. Darnell Nurse, man. You got to know the time on the clock. What are you doing?
What is going on there?
Well, it's been the same stuff. This is what's shocking to me. Broberg's in St. Louis, Cece's in Dallas, and Matthias Ekholm's in, the nursing home. He's injured. He's out. He's done. He's not playing. So that three of their top six from last year's run to the final aren't even there. The one thing I'll say, though, and he deserves a lot of credit, John Klingberg has proven a lot of people wrong.
Yep.
He's healthy and he's playing really, really well.
Great point by Randy, though. God forbid anyone in the media call him out because he's a superstar. But what's Leon Draisaitl doing on that goal?
He's trying to get back to the net. That's just
it.
I know. But what was he doing the game before that when they won? So I can just say, I can live a little bit with some of the Draisaitl stuff.
Yeah. Okay. But let me ask you this. If Pickard was healthy.
Calvin Pickard. It's okay.
Calvin Pickard was healthy.
Yeah.
You're going to him, right?
I would.
Yeah. But he's not. So
I'd call my friend Andy Moog up. I call Grant up. Fuhr.
God, I love it. I love it.
Hey, you know what? Furzy's great, by the way.
Yeah.
He worked at Mario's camp a couple times and had so much fun with Grant. He was on the same staff as I was on.
Yeah.
Andy's amazing. He's living in Dallas right now.
Yeah.
I know some people that know him. He's great, really good guy. Yeah.
Randy says put Jimmy in. Randy says put Jimmy in. No. You don't
No, but again, you look at it, it's the tough situation. Jimmy, how many years have we been talking about Stuart Skinner? But I'm not blaming. People want to blame him. I blame the organization.
Yes, they had a chance over and over to go out and get what they needed there.
They misread the room.
Yep.
It doesn't mean they won't. Hey, look, they could go to the final. They could. They could. And part of that's because LA made it an easy road for them. They didn't get maxed out at all in that series.
Yep.
That could have been a hard – if that had gone 7 games with Game 7 in L.A., that would have set the table for major pain for them long term. But L.A. didn't do that for them, so.
Pierre, before we get into our sponsors and my picks and the Q&A, as you predicted weeks ago, it's not set yet, but all signs are pointing towards Ken Holland landing in LA as the new general manager. Not confirmed yet. I want to stress that, but all signs are looking that way. What does he bring to that organization at this time that can help them finally get to the next level?
A vision for how to build a winning team, and he'll be able to do it. He did it in Edmonton, even though people got mad at him. He still did it in Edmonton.
I don't get why people are mad at him there. Those mistakes in the offseason weren't on him.
No, but he helped get them in the final. Like, he did some really good stuff there.
Yeah.
So he's got the plan. He's been on our show a couple times. I mean, you got to say, after he leaves the show, don't you feel invigorated?
Yes.
He's got energy. He's got pizzazz. He's got wisdom. He's going to set up a real good scouting department, both at the pro and amateur level. He'll set up really good development situation. Not that LA, by the way, to be fair to Rob Blake and his people, Nelson Emerson and all those guys, they've had a real good development program there. They have done a very good job with development. They really deserve a lot of credit on that. But they just weren't, for whatever reason, the team building part of this thing didn't work out for them. Just didn't work out for them.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. I wish him luck, and hopefully we can get him on the show again.
He'll come on. He'll be all excited now.
I love it.
If he gets a job, he'll be pumped up.
All right, let's get to our sponsors, TCS Customs and Logistics. You can unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics. From around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For a no-obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. And of course, our wonderful friends over at Betway, where you can still go all the way with Betway. And even if you lose your first bet as a new member, you can be credited $200. That's right. You can get paid even if you lose. Again, it's only for new members. So if you want to sign up, go right there to that QR code in front of you if you're watching, or if you're not watching and just listening, you can go to the website in the details section, create your new account, and redeem your welcome offer. Terms and conditions apply. This offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 plus, and you must bet responsibly. Let's go to my sick picks of the night.
It's time for Sick Picks, brought to you by Betway.
All right, we're going to go to that first game we were just talking about there, the Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes in Game 4. The Hurricanes can take a commanding 3-1 series lead, but I don't think that's happening. I think the Capitals tie it up, and they continue to hold serve, and I think Game 5 is going to be the big one, I think. Right now, the Capitals are heavy underdogs, so obviously the odds makers not going with what I think. You can get the Capitals at plus 220 value. That's pretty insane in the playoffs to get a team that heavy and an underdog in the second round, considering what they did in the regular season. So take the Capitals at plus 220 value. Also in that game, you can go look at Ryan Leonard right now. Coming back into the lineup, I like him to get a goal. He is at plus 650 to get a goal. So Ryan Leonard to come in and answer the bell and get a goal at plus 650. And those are my sick picks of the night. Let's go to that Q&A. What do we got? Mike, how would you describe the road struggles for the Jets? Is it mental? Is it that they just aren't deep enough and are losing the matchups with last changes? Pierre, I'd say it's the former. I think that's when you start to lose so much on the road in the playoffs, I do think it becomes a mental block.
I think that's part of it. I also think that there's some guys that are there that are playing very injured. That St. Louis series was mayhem on ice.
Yeah.
It was probably the most undervalued physical series of the first round. People in Montreal said, well, our series was the most physical. People in Washington said our series was the most physical. People in Carolina saying our series with Jersey was the most physical. Everybody thought their series was the most physical. Colorado, Dallas. I don't think any series was more physical than St. Louis and Winnipeg. It was really nasty. Shifley got dinged up. I don't think he's right. Josh Morrissey got dinged up. I don't think he's right. Pionk had a tremendous series in the last series. I think he's a little nicked up. So I think there are a bunch of guys that are nicked up there. So it's the mental part, but that's the physical fatigue too.
All right, next question. Juice _031 017. Would Ryan O'Reilly be the best 2C option the Habs could get this offseason? Habs have the assets to make a trade with Nashville. Yeah, I agree with Pierre, but I agree with you, Juice, that they do got the assets to do it. But I think those assets could get them.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Knock on Ryan. I just think.
No, this is not a knock on Ryan at all.
Yep.
I just think there are other guys that could fit the role better for what they're looking for right now. He's got a no. You'd have to look it up, Jimmy. I'm pretty sure he's got a no move.
Well, he exercised it from what I was told.
Yeah, he's got a no move. So I don't think he would accept a trade to Montreal.
That's an interesting team, though, Juice. I'm glad you brought them up. And as we get closer to the draft and the offseason, that is a team here that we should really kind of, because I think they're going to be very interesting to see how they bounce back from what was obviously a huge letdown, considering the offseason they had last year.
Well, first of all, they're bringing their coach back,
right?
Which I think is actually good. It's a great statement by Barry Trotz saying, you know what, players, we're not letting you off easy.
Good.
A lot of you guys underachieved.
Yeah.
This isn't on the coach; it's on you.
Yep.
There's a pretty distinct message around the room.
Around the league, Pierre. I think that needs to be done more to hold a player. All right, next question. Franco, with all the goalie injuries this season in the playoffs, do you see teams being more active in having two viable options in the net in future trade deadlines off seasons? I think, Franco, that would be a very wise decision. We'll see if they adhere to that, but I think it's
a lot of teams have thought that way for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I think that's why the Toronto situation with Woll and Stolarz, they've got both those guys combined for less than $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Look what the Rangers are paying Shesterkin.
I know. I know. Look
what he makes more than double. It makes more than double what the two goalies in Toronto make.
Swayman and Korpisalo in Boston.
Yeah.
Next question. Dave Abbott, if the Habs miss on a UFA 2C, who could be the smart trade partner to fill that role based on need, depth, or cap fit? Dave, I would just say of course they're going to explore it, but I think, Pierre, and I think you'll agree with me right now, they're eyeing that the trade market is the solution there, not free agency. Because if you look at that list, there's really not much out there right now.
No, the trade market's where they have to go.
Yeah.
I think it's a deal that happens at the draft.
Me too. I just wish all the GMs would be at the draft again, but maybe next year. All right, next question. Chris TV. Maybe it's a stupid question. No stupid questions here, Chris. Don't worry. But since the Islanders don't have a GM right now, can the Penguins talk to Patrick Waugh for the head coach job?
As long as he has permission from the ownership group on the island. Right. If he were to say, can I have permission to talk to another team? And they say no, then he can't.
Yep.
But if they say yes, then he can.
Yeah.
But it's got to be
what's going to happen to me when the new guy
left out in the cold right now. But that's the reality of it.
By the way, Pierre, what's your take on the whole and Chris Botta referenced this a bit, but it's gaining more steam in the last few days. Just that they're keeping Lou on. You think there's a lot of validity to that, or?
I don't know. I would tell you, I don't know.
It's a weird situation there, but I like what Chris said today on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He was saying, look, let's just give this situation an answer one way or the other, because after what Lou's done for the game and this team, you owe it to him to not leave him out hanging like that in the public. So I thought that was good on Chris to say that.
No,
all right.
Chris is a first-class guy, but I don't know what's happening there. I really don't know. I'm not sure the search has kind of been weird.
I think it's been very strange. There's a lot of stuff going on there right now. I can't figure out. All right, next question. Energize. Feel like this flies under the radar, but why doesn't Austin Matthews show up in the playoffs? Energize. I think it's very much on the radar. As we said to begin the show, with all due respect, 0 goals in 9 career games played after the first round. Is he injured maybe? superstars find a way.
He's injured. He's been injured most of this year.
Yes. And to hit, we got to count in too. How many times has he been past the first round? Right? Like he hasn't had a chance to really do much in the second round. So patience with him. I think when all's said and done, you're going to be happy with him. All right, next question. Zahal, Pierre, how do you feel that Anthony Marcotte says that signs are pointing to Primo playing game 1 for Laval versus Rochester?
Well, Anthony knows he's around their team all the time. If that's what they're going to do, that's fine. I mean, they have 2 goalies there. I don't see that being an issue at all. I wish, Primo's had a good year for them down there, and they trust him.
Right.
And I don't know. You'd have to look it up, Jimmy. I don't know if Fowler's played in Rochester before. It's a bit of a different building because the lighting's a little different there. Just so you know, it's a little darker there. It's more of an old school feel. The rink's nice. It's beautiful. The auditorium. But it's different lighting. It's not the same. So Primo has way more experience in that building than Fowler does.
Pierre, I'll confess, I've not been paying obviously as much attention to the AHL playoffs, the Calder Cup playoffs as you.
Yeah.
But just from what I have, do you think the winner of this series is the favorite regardless of who they play heading into the final?
Yeah, especially with Coachella Valley losing the way they did. A lot of, they had been in the final the previous 2 years. Hershey showed a lot of resilience. So 2-time champions coming back and beating Lehigh Valley to win that series. That's really resilient because most people in Lehigh, the Flyers, thought their team was going forward.
Yeah,
they did. They thought they were winning this series, and they obviously didn't. Give Abbots for a lot of credit for getting through Coachella Valley, but I would say the winner, Rochester. And this is taking nothing away from Charlotte either, who just beat Providence. Yeah, but I would say the winner of this series probably has a legitimate advantage over everybody else.
All right, next question. Steve Lash, Jimmy and Pierre, Marco Sturm has been rumored to be interviewing for head coach positions. He is, Steve. Is he ready to take the next step? I'll defer to Pierre on that one.
100% he is.
Yep.
Marco's a communicator. Marco was a respected member of the NHLPA. Players know that. Marco's coached internationally. Marco's been very successful in the American Hockey League. Marco's been an assistant coach in the NHL. Marco was ready to coach in the NHL.
Don't forget what he did in the Olympics.
Went to the gold medal game and lost off icing. I still can't believe it. I'm watching that. I'm like, it's like a car, no, oh no. And it happened. And I felt it was Dennis Seidenberg's brother that iced the puck. I felt so bad for the kid.
Yeah.
And then Kirill Kaprizov went to work and it was over.
Yeah. Marco's a great guy. I wish him the best. I hope he does find a job. All right, next question. Ethan Russell, this might be a crazy question, but do you give Corey Perry a chance to make the Olympic team? The amount of energy and leadership he could bring to the table. Is that a crazy take?
Well, it's not crazy because Corey's a winner and a gold medalist. Yes. And, he's been to the final. Listen to this. This is an amazing record. Final with Anaheim, final with Montreal, final with Dallas, final with Tampa, final with Edmonton. I don't know too many guys have done that. I think of Marian Hossa, final with Pitt, final with Detroit, final with Chicago. And he won 3 in Chicago. So Hossa gets that because he got 3. This guy didn't in one city. But I don't think it's a crazy take. I just don't think he'll make it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't matter. I think he's a viable candidate, but I don't think he'll make that team. I don't think that's the kind of hockey they want to play.
Much to choose. They could do 3 teams. All right, next question. Steve Lash, whoever is hired in Vancouver, is one of your first phone calls or meetings with Elias Pettersson. If he has another down year, I don't see their season going well. Thoughts, Steve? 100%. You call, you meet with them, you get on the same page, you do what you got to do.
They need a coach that goes in there that can teach kids. They need a coach that can go in there and help older players get better. They need somebody and Talk was like that. And, so was Adam Foote. And I don't know what happened with the infrastructure there. I just don't know. One of the guys I hope they're talking to, and I don't know if they are or they aren't, he did an amazing job in Minnesota this year, is Jack Capuano. I'd love to see Jack people don't know this. Jack was really close to getting that Philadelphia Flyer job when Tortorella got it, Jimmy. He was really close to getting that job. So
Yep. I think he'd be a great candidate there. He's done a lot of great things. All right, next question. Alex Simonowski, what's the real appetite in Boston for a rebuild? It feels like there's too much pressure and too many expectations for them to really go into a rebuild. Can their first overall pick be had? Alex, you're 100% right. It's like it's so obvious they need to do it, but ownership and a little of hockey ops don't seem to want to go that way. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. That's all I'll say. It's going to be great.
What's the line that you told me? Not just the playoff team?
Yeah. They want to be a contender. They want to go deep into the playoffs. Those are
not just the playoff team, but we're going to go deep into the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Juice _031-017 projected NHL first round pick Malcolm Spence is heading to Michigan next season. How many more CHL players will be heading to the NCAA next season? Feels like this is just a start. Juice, I agree. I think it is. You're going to see more soon.
It's just a start. I think the Ontario League had 80 players drafted who were American. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is yeah.
Yeah. Pierre, I know the transfer portal deadline is tomorrow. I was wondering, I decided to take the time to look at it. Is there a deadline for the transfers from the CHL?
Don't know the answer. That's a good question. Yeah, I wish I had the answer. I don't know the answer to that.
I'll look that up for next show.
I don't know the answer to that.
All right. Next question. Randy Workman, Jimmy and Pierre, do you think that when Bennett didn't get a minor when he hit Stolarz, it might have started the way things have been called in the playoffs? It's basically what Randy's trying to say. Like, did it open the door to questionable calls or non-calls?
Well, I think that happened in the first round, but I do think that carried over to the second round.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, but I talked about it before, Randy. Kachuk on Gensel, Mikkola on Gergensons, Bennett on Stolarz. Last year, Bennett on Marchand. Yeah. Alexiev cross-check to the face of Brendan Gallagher. Wilson on Carrier. Ovechkin on Jake Evans. And I'm just making the easy ones. There were other ones that were debatable, highly debatable too. There was somebody last night that got Tanev from behind, and I forget who it was. I was like, how's that not a call?
Mm-hmm.
And then, the flying elbow to the head of Mitchell Marner from Kulikov, and I'm going, that's on a puck carrier. That's a guy that has a puck on his stick.
Yeah.
And they didn't see that?
And I'm sorry for Florida fans out there. I know this will make you angry if I say this, but you're in no position to be whining about non-calls. I'm sorry. That's just, as Pierre just listed all the things there. So, all right, next question. Derek Rindell. Hey, Pierre, every time I watch Laval, I'm really impressed with Jared Davidson. Yeah. Hard work. Do you see any chance this kid could crack the Habs with a year or two?
Yes. And if he can't do it there, I could see, especially because there's going to be expansion, I think that guy's going to get a chance to play in the NHL. And I think that's such a good take from that emailer or questioner. Yeah. Awesome take. Because I know he's a kid that was drafted middle rounds, but he's got offense to his game. He's got a grit factor to his game. He sure seems coachable in the games that I've watched them play, and that's a fair number. I'm really impressed by him. I
heard Marty St. Louis has praised him quite a bit too.
I think that that's a good thing, not a bad thing for him, that the head coach is paying attention.
Yep.
People forget Marty grew up in Laval. So he's probably like, I'll go hang out with someone buds, and then I'll go sneak into Laval and watch the game at the Centre Bell, which is an amazing arena.
Yeah, I got to get there next year.
And the concession stands are awesome there.
Yeah.
They're so good. And, I don't have beer when I'm at the games because I don't want to, but I'd love to sit in the stands and have a couple Colons and have a couple of Chanchot avec Moutarde and watch the game and be good.
Like this, Pierre. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, that would be down. It would be good.
Next question. Ron LaRoque. If Holland goes to LA, what happens with Bergevin? Would he stay and fine-tune his skills with Holland?
You forget one thing. Bergevin played in Detroit. Holland was a general manager. You forget another thing. Luc Robitaille played in Detroit. He won a Stanley Cup in 2002, the only one he ever won as a player. He's won 2 others as a management person, but as a player. So who's the general manager? Kenny Holland. I've told Jimmy this numerous times.
Yep.
You need a Dakota ring, but there's always a root that attaches all these people.
Yep. For sure. All right, next question. Dave Abbott, if the Leafs fail to get it done this year, what do they need to do to extend their window? How long do you think they have?
That's a very good question. Really good question. I think they'd have to upgrade a little bit of the depth offense. Not a lot, but a little bit. The window's still open for them.
Yeah.
Now, the big question is going to be what happens with Mitchell Marner. Does he leave or does he stay? And then if he leaves, what do you do to fill his spot? They'll have plenty of money, so they'll have to, figure out how they're going to replace him. But I think the window's still open for them.
I do too. Maybe 2 to 3 years more.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. What do we got? Is that it? Oh, there we go. Juice again. Pierre, how far away is Habs prospect Michael Hage from being ready to play in the NHL?
Well, give him the rest of this year at Michigan, turn him pro after next year, put him in the American Hockey League at the end of the season. Hopefully they have another run. So he gets, let's say, gets maybe 15 to 20 games next year, pro games, American League games, and then play the next year, and then the world's his oyster.
Awesome.
He's playing in the NHL. Don't worry, he's playing in the NHL.
All right. Next question. Zahal, with Boston and Providence in the offseason, what happens with their goaltenders? Does Corpy get moved? Corpusal? Does DiPietro get a chance? Does he still have a spot in the organization?
Those are all good questions. DiPietro had an amazing year. I don't know how they can move Corpusal. I told it, Jimmy, the day they got him, what did I tell you? They better be in love with that contract because they're not trading it.
It's going to be impossible unless they want to eat some of it.
I remember telling Jimmy this as soon as they got him. They better love that. They better love the player because they're not trading that contract.
He's already complaining about playing time. Remember that in the year. So good luck in that situation. But as far as you go, I'm glad they brought that up, and it's something not a lot of people are talking about, including myself. Those guys are UFAs, both DiPietro and Bussy.
Yeah.
So the Bruins need to figure that out soon, or I would guarantee another team takes a chance on DiPietro, and that would be
he'll get an opportunity.
Because that was a great. We can bash Don Sweeney and their pro scouting staff, but I give them a lot of credit from that trade they made with Vancouver to get him. Who they traded? Studnicka, I believe it was.
Yeah, Studnicka.
Yeah, that was a good trade. All right, next question. Alex Ivanowski, how much should be made into a team's AHL team winning the Calder Cup or making a deep playoff run as opposed to an early exit? I'm thinking of Detroit and Columbus AHL teams and their first-round losses.
I'm really disappointed in Grand Rapids going out. They lost to a very good team from Texas who had a lot of mature, older players come and join them after the college season, and some that joined them at the beginning of the season. Justin Ritzkovian is one of them. He had a tremendous year for them. Rookie of the year, kid out of Northeastern. But I was really disappointed in Grand Rapids going out that early. I bet you Yzerman's not happy about that at all. So here's the one thing I'd say. You can't say a team that wins a Calder Cup is going to flush all these prospects to the next level because it doesn't happen that way. But it does give them a better opportunity to play longer. And so they're getting evaluated better. And they have a better chance when camp starts the next year with the NHL guys.
All right, next question. Randy Workman, talking about the Preds, would they consider trading Stamkos?
I don't know that. I'm not going to dip my foot in the pool on that one because I just don't know. Maybe they would. Maybe they won't. I was just with Barry Trotz at Ray Shiro's memorial. David Poyle was there as well, and we chatted, but we did not talk about Steven Stamkos, so I don't know.
All right, next question. A troubled mind. Do you think Bergevin will bring in someone to help manage players a little better in his second stint? Because I feel that's where his first tenure fell flat. Examples, Subban, Seaman Cassian.
Well, what? Because he thinks Mark's getting the job in LA, or is Mark getting a job
He
with the?
does get a job. Do you think he'll do a better job at managing players a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't spoken to. I've seen Mark, but I haven't spoken to him about player development or anything like that. So I don't know the answer. I just don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, yeah, that's Ron saying we didn't mention Quinville. I thought we did. Didn't we talk about that Friday?
I thought we did because I did a hit for CBS.
Yeah, we did, Ron. We talked about him on Friday.
We did a CBS hit on Thursday.
We were defending him against all the critics because everyone would question it because all the
didn't forget Quinville.
Okay.
And by the way, I was chatting with Coach Q this weekend, and he's really excited about the opportunity, and he's really excited about the young players and the way they've come to support him and his opportunity. And I can't get into everything we talked about, but what I would tell you is he's grateful for the second opportunity, and he will not make any errors. I assure you of that.
All right, next question. Hey, Norwegian buddy.
I love this guy.
Kagstad, good evenings from Norway. What is the best developmental route for a European NHL prospect? Should he play in domestic leagues like the KHL, SHL, Finland, Swiss, Czech, etc., or the AHL?
I'm a big fan of the Swedish league, the SHL, huge fan. And I'm a big fan of the Finnish league. I think it can help those guys a lot, especially the younger players. It's run like pro, like real pro, hard. Training's hard. Fans are engaged. Hockey's important in both those countries. You know, a lot of Danes have gone there. A lot of Norwegians have gone there. I just think they're real good development leagues, really good.
All right, next question. Juice _031017 for top draft eligible Canadian goaltenders playing the CHL. Is the NCAA the best place for them to develop instead of the CHL?
So everybody's got that's a good question. Everybody's got their own thought on that, Jimmy. So some guys think that you need to play, 50 games. College goalies aren't ever playing 50 games, in a season. Yeah. I'm going to say most college goalies are playing 27 to 35 somewhere if they're the starters. A major junior goalie can play 45 to 50. It's more games, sometimes more than that even. So it depends on how you view it. I think one of the big things in college is you're playing against harder shooters. You're playing against bigger guys. You're playing more of I don't want to say a pro style, but a harder style, if that makes sense, more physical. So everybody's different. Like Brodeur could have played college or, major junior. It wouldn't have mattered. He was going to be a star player. I would have liked to see what would have happened to Rick DiPietro if he'd rather go to BU. He was the first overall pick. If he had gone and played major junior, would that have made him better? Roberto Luongo could have gone and played at University of Vermont, or he could have gone and played, in Val-d'Or. No, they had a pipeline there.
Yeah. That's right, from Quebecers. Yeah.
But he goes, plays major junior, and Roberto had a heck of an amazing career, like unbelievable. So I don't think it would have affected where he played.
Yeah. Yeah. There was another goalie that played for UVM that was pretty good too.
Draper.
Yeah, no, another guy.
Vinny Thomas? He's not Canadian. He's from the United States of America. He's a Michigan guy. Michigan.
And Pierre, we talk about the roads you travel to get to the NHL. Yeah. He literally, in the words of Robert Frost, took the road less traveled.
Well, his first pro team was in Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah, and I know because I coached against them.
And then he's in Europe. He was here. He was back in Europe.
All over.
God bless. What a story. All right. Is that it? I think we got one more. A Trouble Mind. Follow up on the Stamkos question. Would it be reasonable to expect a team that overhauls their roster to require a significant time to gel? New system, new city.
Yeah, it would be reasonable, but the NHL is not a reasonable league. Yeah. If it was, all these coaches wouldn't be getting fired all the time.
All right, next
not
question.
Reasonable, man. Trust me.
Yep. Frank, quick question. What did you think of 6 overtimes in the women's game? How difficult it is to stay hydrated that late in the game?
Frank, I did not watch the game.
Heard
I've been
about that.
following, and I'm aware Montreal won, which
Yep.
is good. I'm a huge Marie-Philippe Poulin fan. Going back to her breakthrough moment of the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver, she was off the charts, man. Oh, my God. I saw her play, Jimmy, and I remember looking at all these NHL guys. I'm like, this girl's going to redefine what women's hockey's all about. She's really good. She was special. So I don't know about the hydration part. I'm sure that they were real professional about it, but that's hard. I can't even imagine, 6 overtimes. That's heavy duty.
Pierre, speaking of women's hockey, and I'm guessing you crossed paths with her over the years, our condolences and thoughts go out to the family of Lisa Brown Miller, who passed away over the weekend at 58. Yeah, she was part of the 1998 team.
Don't worry. I had Lisa in hockey camp.
Yeah, I
She was
figured
a
you
young
would.
lady. And she was at the Babson hockey camp before she went to Brown University.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's sad.
I
So
did not
58
know
years.
that. Oh, she's
I don't
just
know.
a young lady.
Just saw it across the wire as we were talking.
She actually went to Providence. I shouldn't have said Brown. She went to Providence College. Oh,
Yeah.
that's too bad. Sorry to hear that.
All right.
Wow.
Next
Really
question.
sad. Really sad.
Mhm. Ethan Russell, any teams that have really upgraded their rosters in the transfer portals?
I couldn't tell you. Don't know.
Don't know yet, Ethan, but I'll do some research for the next show for sure. All right, next question.
I apologize, Ethan. I haven't studied it. I apologize.
Is that it? That might be it. Oh, we got one more. Dave Abbott. Our good man, Dave.
This is good.
What is the role of the NHL concussion spotter? With a number of goalies taking shots in the mask, you think that would align with a shot to the head? Thoughts? 100% agree, Dave.
Dave, you're touching on a very important point. I think people around the league want to know too.
Yeah. And, I think the other thing too is, do we need, I saw something, I can't say this is my original thought, but somebody on Twitter was saying, should the concussion spotters, should they have connections to the home team or should they be completely objective? Because could that sway their decisions, or you need to read it.
But all I know is this.
Something needs to be.
Somebody gets hit in the head, they should be right down the alley to the dressing room, get tested, and then if they're good, they can come back. And if they're not good, they got to stay in the room.
That's it. All right. I think that is it. We appreciate all your questions as always. We love them. And to all our listeners as well, we appreciate you. To our friends up in the studio there in yellow and Sammy, we appreciate all the work you do too. We will be lining up some guests for this week soon. Waiting to hear on one. And we'll go from there. But Pierre, enjoy the hockey tonight, my friend. And I'm sure I'll talk to you during the games. And
you will. You will. And, I just can't. I'm really stupefied. I'm so shocked. I feel terrible for Lisa Brown Miller's family. She was an amazing player, Jimmy. She's a little undersized. She could really skate. She was strong in the puck. She's a dynamic offensive type player. Yeah, she was a really good player, and a nice young lady, really nice young lady. That's too bad. That's sad to hear. Yep.
Her and her family there, and all who knew her in the women's hockey world. This has been another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. We will talk to you tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.